One of the great things about Edgar Allan Poe and Edgar Allan Poe's canon of work is that he offers you so many different angles from which we might attack those pieces. So many different open interpretations to his work, so many different angles that are worth looking at, right? You have all of the symbols that are planted in them. You have all of the omitted facts that maybe they were purposely or purposefully omitted by the speaker, etc. And I wanted to take a moment today to talk about Annabelle Lee because it's one of those poems that seems to be one of Edgar Allan Poe's most popular. But it's a poem that I don't spend all that much time with. And I really wanted to sit down and give a different type of interpretation. Because, like I said, Poe makes his work so available to just such a thing. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to prove something very, very dark with Annabelle Lee. I'm going to use the text and make it so that Annabelle Lee was not stricken from the clouds, but was stricken from our speaker, by our speaker. And so I went on my merry way, and I was trying to prove the the speaker of the poem as the bad guy of the poem, a sort of schism between who he is and who he portrays himself to be, right? That something that is not particularly hard to find in Edgar Allan Poe's work. But there was something way different than that in this poem that I found, maybe not as dark, but as dark in its own way. And I wanted to talk about that now. So, welcome to Strip Cover, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we're here for a poetry discussion, which will appear in several different playlists here on the channel. Number one being the Edgar Allan Poe playlist, now growing here on the channel. Number two being the Poetry Discussion playlist, a playlist now over 800 videos strong. Number three being the Horror Genre playlist, and number four being the Classic Haunts, 31 videos in 31 days leading up to Halloween 2025. This poem, Annabelle Lee, is a very rhythmic poem, and it reads as such. It was many and many year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a fair maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and to be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabelle Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabelle Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre by this kingdom by the sea, in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee, and the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. And so, I think you can see the sort of vague paranoia in this poem that, oh, no, I loved her so much, I would never take her away. I would never do that to her. It was the clouds, you see. I think there's an interpretation there to be had about that. I think if you were to pair this poem with several of the other, the Telltale Heart, for example, you could make the same type of case here of someone who was trying very desperately to overcompensate for the fact that they had done something terrible that they have to say they have not. But there's something else in this poem. A series of questions that I have. Who is our speaker? Can you answer that question? Where is our speaker? We get where it is that he is sometimes laying down next to a tombstone by the sea. We get that. Perhaps this is a bit of a silly sounding question, but why is our speaker? Why is he? What is his why? See, he doesn't have one. There's nothing there. There's nothing to be said. There's nothing to be done. This poem from our speaker is about the death of Annabelle Lee. We could extend that who, what, where, when, why, sometimes how. Question one step further. When? Again, it's a very silly sounding question. When is our speaker? We understand that the narrative of the poem paints the much younger picture of our speaker and Annabelle Lee. They were younger then, much younger then. How old is he now? When is he now? We can answer nothing about our speaker in this poem. Our speaker, it seems, died with Annabelle Lee, but is left to wander the earth. Our speaker here has no reason for anything, has no direction in life, has no sense, seemingly, of time. Is it a human thing to do this? To dedicate one's life completely to a thing or a person? And once that person is gone, once that thing stops, disappears, is no more, once that person dies, is gone, who is it that is left? If you have dedicated your entire existence to a certain thing, a specific thing, a one person, and that person is gone, it leaves no you. How much of our real identity do we engage on a daily basis? One thing that has always been present in my life, I've always called myself a writer. Large periods of my life, that's just not true. I call myself a writer. I don't write. I certainly don't publish. Can I still say that thing? If that thing in me has died, that writing is gone. and I still call myself a writer, am I lying or am I just dead? A person dedicates their entire being, their life, to some other person. That person dies. A man marries a woman. She dies. Is he still a husband? Or is he just dead too? The speaker in this poem does not exist. I think that's a place a lot of us find ourselves from time to time. I think that's a place a lot of people get lost for all of their time. In this great without, a great without of the soul, a great without of the individual. How is it that we are supposed to go on from day to day? How much of ourselves do we have to dedicate to a thing to be that thing, to be a husband, to be a writer, to be a reader, to be creative, to be an artist? How often do we have to touch that place? How often do we have to see that person? It's a sad thing, isn't it? That life is so limited, so bracketed by the clasp of time, that we can only consider ourselves so many things during our lifetime. And if we do not spend ample enough time doing that thing, being that person, can we really say we ever were? Emily Dickinson, greatest poet of all time, I'll hear no arguments, published a handful of poems in her lifetime, spent a lot of time writing, didn't spend a lot of time being known as a writer, didn't spend a lot of time being known as an author. Had you asked her, would she have said she was a writer? 1,775 poems, I believe, is the precise number. That's a lot of poems written over a lot of years. She had a very concentrated, I think it was about a decade of work where she wrote a bulk of those poems. Who was she before she went into that great trial and tribulation of her words? Who was she after? At some point she must have spent a great deal of time in ideation and writing. Must have. And then, without fortune, without fame, without acclaim, she must have drifted out of being that mad poetess. Who was she then? Was she still the same person? What is your poetry? What is it that you have floated in and out of during your lifetime? Something that you took very seriously for a while. Someone that you took very seriously for a while. That thing gone, that person removed. Who did you become? Was it better than the person you were? The speaker in this poem never got anywhere else. The speaker in this poem stopped completely. The speaker in this poem simply returns to the graveside of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. Maybe, right? We have no reason to believe that our speaker is any other thing, exists any other place, does any other thing, knows anybody else. That's one of the interesting sort of microcosms of poetry, isn't it? that you have this one little sliver into the existence of something. And surely that thing exists outside of the space that you're getting in the poem. Surely, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Surely, the guy who stops and observes the snow in the field, and there's miles to go before he sleeps, surely he gets there, right? We don't know. We're not there with him. Are there poems within your life to be written in this way? Or is your life completely this way? I beg and plead of you, do not do this. Do not be the speaker here. There are reasons to go on. There are reasons to do more things. There are reasons to be more places. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on the channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. There's poetry every Monday, and as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.